Hello, this is the school data analysis for Jay Holman for Barron Elementary School. Barron Elementary School is a fundamental school and is part of the Hampton City Schools Division in Hampton, Virginia. Fundamental schools are those in which parents sign contracts agreeing to support their children in the academic and behavioral rigor that a fundamental school program demands. In looking at our school quality indicators, under accreditation, Barron Elementary is considered a level 1 school in the subjects of English, mathematics, and science. As you can see in all the different subgroups, Asian, Black, economically disadvantaged, English learners, Hispanic, multiple races, students with disabilities, and white, all students are at level 1 according to the state's requirements. Barron Elementary, as of 2022, the previous school year, reached a level of 89% in their English academic achievement scores, which have maintained pretty steadily for the last few years, with the 2021 school year not being assessed. The percentages for the current year show that 79% of our students received a passing score. Our reading performance for all students was above the state requirements in both the 2021 and 21-22 school years. Our female students received 88%. Our male students were at 66% in English reading, which is below the state and school division standards. Our African American students were at 64%, which was below our division's average and above the state's. Our Hispanic students were at 81%, above both division and state standards. Our white students were at 86%, above state and division standards scores. Our Asian students were at 100%, above the division and state scores. Our mixed race students were at 67%, and our students with disabilities were at 39%. Our economically disadvantaged students were at 65%, and our English learners were not tested during that year. One of the reasons I believe this is the case is because in Hampton City Schools, we have a school that's designated for English learners called Langley Elementary. And during the 21-22 school year, we may not have had any students in our building that were considered English learners. Usually when we find we have students that enroll, that are zoned to come to our school, because we also have them in addition to our contract students, we usually, after a while, get them referred over to Langley Elementary. So during the 2021 school year, we may have had one or two students, and then we referred them over to Langley where they could better get their needs met. Writing was not assessed at the elementary level for the 2 school years shown here. And I'm believing that these scores that we did have for the division were for the 8th grade students who do take a writing test, and possibly high school as well. All right. Our enrollment in our school for the past school year was 359. We usually range around 350 or more students. When I first came to Barron, we were over at 400, but I believe COVID effects have lowered our enrollment because many parents opted to keep their children at home after virtual learning became available. This graphic shows our ethnic and racial percentages at our school, and you can see that we have an almost equal number of African American and European American students, and then we have other groups as well. We have mostly students who are without disabilities, but we do have a self-contained special education class, and we do have some inclusion for students who have various disabilities, but can be a part of the general education classrooms. We do have very few English learners, and I believe this is mainly because most English learners in Hampton City schools that are at the elementary level go to Langley Elementary. I noticed here that our school division spends less money than the state has for average for students, but it seems as if we're meeting all the guidelines way well above what the federal government requires. Our absenteeism rates are less than 10%, which is good. 94% of our students are at school more than 10% of the time. And this also was as expected, as a little bit lower in the 21-22 school year, but still high. We do have some suspensions and expulsions, but um, they seem to be highest among our African American students and European American white students. But because those are the most in our population, then it would stand to reason that it seems that the scores would be, I mean, the percentages would be higher in those two groups. We have almost 50-50, 60-40 students who are eligible for reduced meal prices. Our teacher quality is very good. We only have 4.2% inexperienced teachers, but no one out of field. And 8.3% of our teachers are provisionally licensed. Most of our teachers in our school have master's degrees. And as far as the ESSA school quality indicators, Barron has mostly yeses in all categories. So we're not identified for support and improvement for this past school year and are accredited. Our kindergartners come in um, oftentimes with no preschool experience or very little preschool experience. But it seems, and from what I know from working with our kindergarten teachers, they work hard with our kids and get them to their literacy points. We did not have at this point the 22 information on kindergarten students meeting fall literacy benchmarks. So my analysis, so what? So I look from just gathering in general, it seems to me that when we're compared with other schools in our division and in the state, Barron seems to be on par and higher in a lot of areas than some of our schools. And this is really, I think, reflective of the fact that we are a fundamental school. So we have students who have parents who have um, designated that education is important in their home. They want their children to go to a school that's going to have even higher. All Hampton City schools have high academic rigor, but the fundamental school is even more so. And so, in my opinion, usually when parents agree to put their children in a school like that, they're usually very supportive parents in their children's education. And so it would stand to reason that our scores would be higher than what was the average in our school division and in the state as well. Um, our strengths, I believe, are that our scores are at or above level. We remain accredited and have been um, for several years. Our school quality and climate, as far as like teacher quality and um, not a high number of suspensions, um, and also having not a lot of chronic or over 10% children missing school. I think that um, is a strength at our school. The areas I think we need to grow from this report show that African American and our male students' reading scores need to be looked at very closely to see what we can do to help improve their reading achievement, as well as with our students with disabilities. I think the percentage said 39%, and that's an area of concern as well. Now what? So what can our school specifically do? And I'll address this more in my paper. But I believe that if our reading specialists, of which we have one, and our interventionists, which we have two this year, we used to just have one interventionist to go with our reading specialist, but we have two now. And I believe if they, with the classroom teachers, work together more than they have been working, and then working to specifically target African American and male students, I think that's a goal that we need to set. I've never heard of us talking specifically about that at our school before. And I've been at the school for several years. So I think this is something that we could work on um, to address. I also believe that vertical grade level planning needs to be a part of what Barron does. I think the kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, and fifth grade teachers need to all work together to see where they can find areas of consistency, um, that we're all doing the same things, using the same terminology with our kindergartners. We have we're fortunate in our school to have many children. I would say probably more than 80% of our children stay with us. If they come in at kindergarten, they stay. And even though we have some children who are military and they move out of the area, we still have many children that stay for 6 years. And if they don't stay for 6 years, if they come in at second grade, they stay for 4 years. And so, since we have that advantage, I think vertical planning would be an excellent strategy to use at our school. And I also believe other stakeholders like school division administrators and our school board need to work across, not just at our school, but across Hampton City schools to work on reading concerns for our African American students and our boys as well in reading achievement. I will address more of these in more specific um, details in my paper. Thank you so much.